All right, we're back in the garage with the 2025 Triumph TF 250X. Gonna do some more stuff today. We got some new parts to bring in or to install, I guess. We got some new hand guards, same ones I'm running on the KX. And then we got these frame guards, frame grips. I really enjoy these on about every bike to just give me better feel over the frame. I don't know, it just seems to grip my boots better. And they look pretty sweet, so that's always a fun addition. These are the, ooh, those black and white look sick. Like a carbon fiber looking plastic cover. Those are sweet. So we're gonna put these on. Been a big fan of those. Acerbis does help me out, so I do get a little bit of support on these. So I've been running these over some of the other brands. I do like them for, honestly, like I used to run the Cycler Pro Bends. Really like those. They weren't lining up very well on when I tried hooking them up on the beta. I had some bad experiences with them. Not lining up, not wanting to fit the handlebars. And I had a lot of fun going back and forth with those and the Enduro Engineering flag styles. I like the Enduro Engineering. Not a fan of the flag styles because I'll destroy levers. I'd bend at least a lever every race or every other race. So I went back to the full wraparounds. I don't know, I just prefer them. Yes, I know if you hit a tree, it bounces harder and you glance more, but I don't know. I prefer these. I mean, if you get used to it, you kind of push harder against it, like push harder right before the impact and you bounce less. So I don't know. I think it's whatever you end up liking. I know a lot of people are worried about breaking their arms, but I've never had an issue with my hands getting out of the bars. So I don't know. I think some people are just have bad luck. So we're gonna get these going on the bike here in a second. So these are the bolts and stuff that come in the handguard kit. So your big ones, these are what hold your bars on at the ends. So these guys, you put your little, you need to bend those out a little bit apparently. But you kind of get those started there. This goes through the end. And then this little slot there lines up with the slot there on the handlebar and keeps them a little more structured. So you want to make sure that those line up when you actually lock it down on the bike. So I will push those through and get this guy going. If I can remember which way is starts it. And then this takes, I think it's an 8 mil, I think. Millimeter, I want to say. 8 or 6 millimeter. So it is a 6 millimeter Allen that tightens that bad boy up. We'll get that just kind of semi-started so that it doesn't fall out on me when I'm installing it. I like to put those in from the beginning and kind of knock them into the handle bar with the dead blow. That's how I like to get those started. So we'll start this one up. Now this package comes with a lot of excess. These guys, that's for your 7/8 bars, your skinny bars, your weird bends, that kind of stuff. You have a bunch of different sizes. I think, I can't remember if you come with 2 or 3 sizes for each. It's been a while since I've put these guys together, but you can kind of line them up. And there's a taper to these as well, if I remember right. So you have the fat boys, and then you have the skinny ones. So, should be skinny ones, at least. Okay. So there you can see the taper right there. So that's how they're supposed to be lined up. If you have them backwards, you see how much thicker this side is. That is the taper for getting them installed. I think, I don't remember. So I have a bunch of leftovers from doing this throughout the years. I don't remember if the Kawasaki required them or not. Okay, there's those. Where's my other skinny? There's my other skinny. Okay, so we'll get those there, separated out so I know what I'm grabbing if I start grabbing these things. There's those. And then you have, well, you got 4 socket head cap screws, 2 bigger button heads. Button heads are holding on these guys to the bark busters, and then you have these guys with your socket head cap screws. And then these guys, you have dots there that you're trying to line up so that you get them the right orientation, because these are also tapered, I believe, just a touch. So you want to line up those 2 dots. If I can get there, you can see it on the screen. So that's all you're doing. I can't remember if there's a right and left on these from the factory or not. It should be. Probably in the instructions that I threw away. I might have to look at those again, just to see if I'm doing something stupid. And then these guys, I believe, are 5mm Allens. It's always the weird sizes. Yeah, so 5. And then these are also 5s. Yep, 5mm. Love those Tusk T-handles. Super handy for this stuff. So we're gonna get this going. I might look through the instructions just to verify that these aren't have a right and left, but we'll get those installed. So this is why I leave that guy on just kind of loose. Is just to slip it in there to hold that there, and then I can kind of fit this to where it needs to be. It doesn't look like those dots are left hand, right hand. It's just to line them up because they're on the same side on both parts. So, no worries there. So then we're just gonna slip that guy through there. I think that's about where we're gonna line up. It looks like we have 1 wire to contend with. Oh no, I probably want that. Yeah, we'll have that go there. I don't know how I want to do that. See, we'll see if that wire needs to move. So make sure that these are set to the right direction. We're just gonna set these bolts loosely in, kind of get them floating a little bit. I'm not gonna go too tight because I don't know if I'm gonna have to move this wire that's on the bottom side or not. Just kind of want it semi-tight. Okay, so it is tight enough to where it will clamp on the bar itself. That's good. We'll line up this one. Hopefully, I like to do this on new bars because old bent bars, this can be a challenge. I have had it where they just don't want to go, and it's because I've bent the bars at some point. And that's always really annoying. So you kind of want to get that to a flat, but it doesn't always want to work that way. So sometimes you kind of finagle these guys around until you get it to kind of seat properly. What I try to do. Drop our tools because that's what professionals do. Okay, so I like the way that stuff all lines up. This wire right here is what I was worried about. I don't want it to rub on this right here and cut it. It's for my map switch. I think what I'll do is probably take this map switch off and then route this wire up over the brake, or the clutch. That's my clutch. I always get those mixed up when I'm staring at the bike and not sitting in the cockpit. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna go up and over. The clutch kind of master, or is that your, whatever you call that, master cylinder? No, the internals. I'm trying to think of what the internals are. Yes, that's the master cylinder assembly. What's in there, that little piston or whatever. You have the rebuild kits for them. But anyway, I digress. Okay, so we got a little bit of gap on the back side here. I'm trying to get. And then I kind of like the way it's protecting the front. I think about there is about where I'm going to set it. That looks good. Also, pretty excited about A1's Supercross starting up tonight. So this is being done on Saturday. So I guess it's tomorrow, isn't it? Sunday for A1. My pick right now, I did it through the whole RMX, or the Rocky Mountain thing where you can set up your fantasy or what you believe is going to work. But I think I have, who do I have? I don't have Sexton winning because he's on a brand new bike. He's on a Cowie, and I know a lot of the Cowie guys didn't really love their Cowie last year, but I do know Sexton has a history of winning at Anaheim. So I've got him definitely in the top. I have him, I think, number 2. I think I have Roxon because Roxon won. Roxon was, I think, 2nd place both times last year at Anaheim. We obviously don't have Jet for a pick. Jet's still out. Hunter is not as good at Supercross, so I don't have him. I think he's at like number 4. I think I have him at 5th. He might not even be in my top 5, honestly. But I know I have Jason Anderson, I think at 3rd again, because he had 2 third places both at last year's Anaheim runs. Okay, so that's pretty decent right there, actually. I really like the way that mounts. It mounts so nice with the Brembos. Just enough freaking clearance. Just enough. And then this guy, I could leave it the way it is and just zip tie him up like that too and not have to move anything. I might do that. That way I don't have to take anything apart. It's not bad, actually. I don't hate the way that's done. We'll do... Okay, so we will take you, reset you, get you there, and then we will flip you there and zip tie there and there. Okay, so got our flush guts again because I like a nice clean flush zip tie that I'm not going to cut myself on later. We're going to do this. Try and get the head of the zip tie down out of the way so I'm not going to hit it anyway. But I think I'm going to do that back here and zip tie to the rubber. That there. Then I'm going to run another one here. Do that one there, and then one more in the middle. And just push the heads so that they're not. Like that. This flush cut. There you go. All right, so there's one installed. Pretty decent lockdown. And when you get to the end, you crank this end guy. You crank him like heck. really tighten the crap out of them. Try to keep it so when you go down, these things don't spin on you. So I just tighten them about as best I can with the T-handles. Go all the way around, tighten everything. Again, just as tight as you can get with a T-handle. That way you can get them loose. I would Loctite these, but I like to reset these when they get knocked out of place. So I end up resetting these pretty often, actually, as far as loosening everything up and then just kind of realigning it. So I won't Loctite them because I prefer to just realign them every week or every other week during race season. And yeah, got my nice donuts on. Love these things. Yeah, so now we just go to the other side. You guys probably really don't care about that, so I'll have those done and then I will get to the frame guards. So here's the left side on over the brake side, throttle side. So this was nice, just enough room. You want to make sure that that's not gonna catch when it's tightened. The only thing you really need to watch out on that side. Right here, I'm not a huge fan of right there. It's dang near touching. I had to pull the rubber boot back. I think what I'm gonna do is take this off and I'm gonna hit this with a grinder and put a little chamfer on that, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so, and really get some clearance so that I can put the rubber boot back on, and that way we're not gonna work on or run into any issues with it rubbing. There's not really any room to move it there. So I think the best option is just to grind a little bit there. I suppose I could move the brake in and maybe that would fix it. But I think the brake's about where I want it to be. So I guess we're gonna have to do a little grinding. So I'll show you what that looks like. So here's your final product. I just took it to add a angle grinder with a flap wheel. Just cleaned it up, and then took some Scotch-Brite and really cleaned up that edge. You can't really see that worth of crap over here. See if the light over here is better. So if it'll focus. Not very well. But yep, that's all I did. And then when we take it over to the bike, it should be a lot cleaner. Let's see. Still don't love that. Looks like it's still gonna be hitting a bit. It's annoying. Hopefully it's not. I really don't want to take too much more material off of it, because I think if I clear it enough I think I'm gonna have to start taking away the structure. Yep, I am 100%. So I would much rather have my handlebar guard brackets break, since Acerbis awesome and sells replacement parts. Little plug for Acerbis. I do like their stuff, I really do. Their plastics actually fit. That's why I have a new rear fender for my Kawasaki sitting on the Kawasaki right now. I'm gonna put that on probably later today. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take out some structure on that, some of the structure. And what I mean by structure is I'm gonna take some of the material off of this back side just to give it more clearance. Not quite enough off with the angle grinder. So I guess we'll do that. So this is what I had to grind to. quite a bit of material, probably 4 runs at the angle grinder with the flap wheel. It's not super pretty, but I did clean it up a little bit with some Scotch-Brite on a wheel that goes on a drill. But now it fits with the rubber. I put the rubber little protector back on, and it fits in there pretty nice and has a little bit of room. You probably can't see it, but there is a gap all the way around. So I think I'll probably just run that. I don't know if I want to take too much more off. I don't know. We'll bolt it up and see. But well, if I remember where I put it, the bolts. We have the bolts finally. I kind of tighten all of the things slowly so it wants to seat itself naturally. It goes to where it should be. If you don't do that, then when you hit something hard enough, it'll go to where it wants to be and it'll be loose. That is something I've learned over the years. You definitely want it to go to where it wants to be. Let it go to its happy place. Kind of slowly work it in while holding it about where you want it to be. But you'll kind of feel it settle where it wants to be. And that's where you kind of want it to go. But you want to make sure it's where it wants to be, but close to where you want it to be for protecting your levers and your hands. There. About right. Something like that. We'll tighten up the, oh, I put that over here. Last thing we need to check is to make sure that the throttle is not going to stick. So we'll tighten this bad boy up. Again, basically just as tight as you can get with the T-handle. Make sure that's got plenty of room around there. Worst thing you could possibly have is your throttle stick and put you into a tree and mock Jesus. So just tighten the rest of these bolts up, then we'll get on to the next thing. All right, so we're gonna move on to the frame guards. Frame guards come with 2 different size bolts. You have a smaller one, a longer one, bigger tube, smaller tube. So the bigger tube goes on the brake master cylinder side, which would be your brake side, and then the smaller set goes on your shifter side. So you want to make sure that you get those 2 set up. What I was using for grinding was a flap wheel. This is a flap wheel, it's a flat disc, goes on your angle grinder. And then I got these little Scotch-Brite wheels. This is actually made by a company called Prime. The owner passed away from cancer. He was big into the dirt bike thing. Cameron, something with an N. Nelson or something. I don't know. Look up like greatest rebuilds of CRs and you'll see it. So we'll get that going. Got a nice Klein screwdriver so I don't screw up my screws. All right. So did a quick dry fit. Goes on, but it does look like we're gonna have to take this guy off. See how much dirt and debris is behind that, but put that on instead. Again, I just like the feel of the rubber. On my boots. So more than anything, it's not even about protecting the frame. It's 100% about the feel of the bike. Oh, nice. Not even that dirty. Nice. I might need to mess with cleaning that up. So, this side gets the bigger tube. So we just shove that in there. It looks like we're gonna need something a little more. Is that gonna do it? Yeah, fudge. Work. All right, so I'm using an extension of a 1/4 inch extension. Looks like, wow, I'm actually gonna need a hammer for that. I thought you could just push those in, but apparently not. There, it's in there flush. That guy in there seated. Okay, that looks like it's gonna go nice. Got our bolt in there. I was looking for my screwdriver. Must have put it somewhere. Just gonna drive this in slowly. Till it's about there. That takes for freaking ever with a screwdriver if you've never done that before. Take you an hour to do what I just did. Not really, but. One goes on the other side, two on this side. Sometimes there's clip deals that you're supposed to get around the frame. Might be on the other side only. So the camera stands kind of directly in my way where I want to put my hand to screw that. Okay. And then these go through like that. Around the frame. Those bad boys you want tight. About like that. And then I like to cut them while they're on this side. Like that. Then I'll take this and try to push these around. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't on that one. That square frame it does not like. Not at all. This one goes around the master cylinder, maybe. Trying to go between the around the master cylinder, like, wow, between the Banjo bolt and your big fill tube. That did not like going through. Holy cow, that's tight. Try and get behind before I snip it. There we go. Buttoned up. Already has the cutouts. Didn't have to take the brake off. That's actually pretty decent. That wasn't too bad. Now we'll go to the other side. Do the same thing. Also, if you noticed on my arm, I got all these weird freaking marks. See if you can see that. Yeah. So I got cupped, or I got a cupping kit for the other day. My forearms have been kind of messed up, so I went to a massage therapist and she recommended getting these cups. So I got them and tried doing it. If you want to look at my shoulder, it looks ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But it looks like I got mauled by an octopus. But where it's purple, so where it's light, it's like not bad. Not that much stagnation is what they call it. And if it is real purple, like my shoulder, it means there's a bunch of chronic stagnation and issues and whatnot in my shoulder. So I don't know, we're trying to get my shoulder fixed. I have some issues with my forearm at the moment, so we're trying to work through that before race season starts up. But all right, so this one, we have the smaller plug and the smaller screw. That one went in way easier. All right, so this side has little tabs. Where do you go? So it goes behind the airbox. Okay. Somehow. Okay, so this one goes behind the frame. And that one goes there. I'm not a fan. Oh, okay. I don't like the way that works. Okay, so it goes like that. Okay. Like that, I guess. Where'd my zip tie go? All right, this one I think I think we'll do on that side. Come on. There you go. Nice. Let's see how the airbox fits back up. Nice. I love these things. They always fit so nice. So that is that for today. I guess the next steps, I think I'm gonna go and actually do the dielectric grease of all the wiring connections. So get the stuff cleaned up and then move on to that. All right, I'm finally getting around to doing the dielectric grease. This is what I use. I don't know. It's Truckalite. I don't know. Dad's had it forever. It's what we've used on all of the stuff. Just basically take some and stuff it into all the electrical connections, and keeps water from creating corrosion and all that fun stuff. So I'll just start popping connections out. So I'm gonna put this stuff down, pop all the connections, and then start doing it. I think is the play. So there's that guy. I do really like the wiring harness on this bike. So much, like it's all right here. Okay, I don't think I want to pull any of that stuff. Is there any more connections down in there? I don't think so. These are relays. Oh, there's one. What is that for even? I can't even tell what the hell that's for. That one's gonna be a pain. Alright, so we got some of them done. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do do that one, that one, that one, that one. And we'll pop off the number plate and do that one up, a couple up there. Oh, I can't tell if this comes apart or not. It definitely comes apart, but I don't see how. Just a fuse. I don't think I'm gonna do the fuses. I've never done fuses, I guess. I don't know. Whatever, we'll just knock this thing out real quick. So what I do is I just get some on the finger and then just jam some in here. Make sure all those holes are filled with some of the grease. Go around the outside, just a little light coat layer, just so it slides in a little bit smoother on the next time we put it back together. Oh, that goes through. Oh, my bad. Almost had that backwards. And so I stirred it up with the screwdriver, and then I'm just wiping it off the screwdriver to put on my finger and on these, less is more. You don't want a ton. That actually needs to go below that, doesn't it? So that needs to go over here. And we push that in. And push you back in. Woo! There we go. Get some more in there. Wipe it off. Now this one, I'll actually go around the edges just to make it a little smoother on entry in, since this one does come in and out a little more often with the tank on and off process. Let's see if I can realign it properly. There we go. Okay. Last but not least, that one. We're just filling up that area there. And then wipe off the excess off the rim. And we just plug back in. So that's all knocked out. Got some excess laying around, it looks like. Some of that. I don't remember if there's any. I don't remember if there was one airbox. Aha! There was one. I almost forgot about. So we have one up there. Now I don't know if you're gonna be able to watch me do this one. This one looks like some fun. I can't. Looks like I need to pull that, pull on that. All right. I think for this one we're gonna use some pliers. Grab a hold of the outside, maybe. That one, I might have to take that panel off for. I can't get my hands in there. Going the right way. Not gonna lie, the more I mess with these plastics, the more I appreciate how they did it. Wow, that is in there, bud. That is really in there. Good Lord. There we go. Just need the right tool for the job, apparently. I know it's only using half the connections, but I'm still gonna plug it full of grease. That way, in case water comes through one of the other holes, it's kind of stopped a little bit. At least that's the theory that I'm going with. I probably should put some grease on the outside because of how difficult that was to get out. So I'm just gonna go around the outside with a little thin layer of grease to help that come in and out a little easier. Okay, that's nice and did it and done up. All right. Put the panel back on. If I remember how it goes. Ah, there it is. Now, I left the Ugga Dugga on for a couple extra seconds because that was the level 1 on my Milwaukee, and it's super, there's not a lot of force on it. So, that's why you heard the impact hit. There goes our bolt. Look up, dog. Need one of the picks. These little white guys, white connectors, I like to use a pick to kind of push in there while pulling on them. And do that one. And it seems to work better to get it apart. And then these I'm just gonna push down on that lever. Maybe. No, I'm pulling on the wrong side. Slug. Okay, so we'll pop that off of this. There's a little connector back here that slid on this, so that we can actually get to this guy and pull him apart. There it goes. Just got to get the right angle. And again, I'm just going around the outside just to make that guy easier. Looks like I might need a little extra than what I just had on the screwdriver. Hopefully that's the right one. Yep, I'm gonna need a little excess. But that's okay. That's pretty good. So, pop that guy back together. Then this guy went like that. In there. Wire loom's good. This guy has been a little annoying lately. making a popping and clicking sound. I almost wonder if this needs, the brake needs taken off and spun 180 degrees. I think it does. That's definitely not it. That's not it. Nope. Apparently not. Now those on the brakes, I definitely am not going to impact. I really wish that was tighter there. I might just pull that zip in to there maybe. Looks like that fell out, so we'll get that back in there like that. Actually, okay, yeah, that works fine. I think we're gonna cut that zip tie off, flush there. Don't mind that. Is this supposed to go in here? Looks like it kind of is supposed to go in, like something like that. Is that how this is supposed to work? I don't know. I don't really care. We're gonna do something, I guess. Yeah, sure. I don't know. We're just gonna leave it floating around. I think I might zip tie that right there, maybe, just to keep it from bouncing. Seems like a good idea, I guess. So I'm just gonna keep those guys there at the connector, I think. And we're just gonna do that just to keep it from bouncing around and possibly getting itself tangled or whatever else it could get itself into. I don't know. Rubbing something or who knows. So we'll tighten those up. I like that. That looks nice. So there we got our dielectric grease all done. That was quick and easy. Number plate back on. Wham, bam. All right, so I think still on the fence on if I want to mess around with the rear brakes. Grease those up with anti-seize, the adjusters. I don't know. I'm so tempted just to wait until my new rear wheel comes in for that, because I don't see the point of doing it now. Just if I'm going to take the wheel off and everything here in a week or two. And I would just take the whole wheel off so it's ready to go whenever this comes in. But I kind of like having it on its little side stand instead of on a actual stand. It's just easier to move the bike to get my truck in here when it's cold outside. So, I don't know. I did check the brake fluids off camera and they looked good, so I'm not messing around with, I don't think I'm gonna flush them or anything. They still looked good, like it was fresh oil. So realistically, I don't really have much to do to this bike. I guess I can put the seat back on now finally. I'm looking at Megatrack's race, the Woods Night over in Illinois. Not sure if I'm going to take this bike or the Kawasaki. I think I'll probably end up taking the Kawasaki. I do have a new fender to replace my zip tie stitch fender. Probably mess around with that maybe the rest of the day. Maybe look into the linkage, see what we're looking at there. I am pretty sure my head bearing's gone. I need to get one of those on order on the steering stem. We got Sky hanging out. What are you chewing on? Bone sliver, apparently. So yeah, I think this is where we're gonna leave it for now. I need to get my tires on order, my Maxxis. Sounds like I'm gonna do bibs this year on this bike, I think. My dealership Dave and Nick, Mr. Nick Hunt, I think they said they're gonna put bibs in for very cheap, so a lot cheaper than what I've heard. And from other places, it's like 20 bucks or something. So I think we're gonna get bibs installed for this year. So I need to get tires in, and then I'll probably take those rims over there to him, and he'll swap out the 18, and then yeah, I think we're gonna go to bibs for this next one. I will probably throw, because I don't know if he's gonna do the hubs or if he's gonna give me a whole new wheel. I don't know if like he's just doing the ring or if he's gonna give me a whole wheel. I'm not sure yet. Probably should check on that, but all right. Well, that's that for this week. Get the bikes coming along slowly but surely. I love this carbon fiber look on the outside. It's not carbon fiber, like it's just plastic, but the outside looks carbon fiber. Looks so trick. Love that. Oh, yeah. We're almost there we got a couple more things to do. This and that. I do need to get my engine ice on order so I can get that flipped out. I love my engine ice. I also need to get a radiator fan on order for this thing and install that. I'm not super worried yet because the first couple races are in March and it's not going to be overheating in March. And I think if we go I've been looking at the hard enduro with over in Ohio. I'm thinking about running a couple of those, but I think I'm going to take the Kawasaki that already has the fan kit. That way if I destroy the bike, I can let it sit and fix it slowly. So, but I will say, other than my engine blowing up on the Kawasaki, it's actually held up decently as far as the abuse from racing. I will give it that. I haven't broke a single part other than the plastic and the rear fender, and that was just from looping out the wheel. Looping out a wheelie in the backyard. And then this one, I did bust that, but that happened like the first race, landed on a rock wrong. Yeah, that was cool, but yeah. All right, well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next round. It'll probably be a week or two, so see you.